So, you mentioned background checks, and let me tell you a story about that. We have a council member here named Trayon White. He represents Ward 8 here in the District of Columbia, and he's been indicted by the FBI for accepting bribes. And those bribes came from a gentleman that is the CEO of a nonprofit organization called Life Deeds Incorporated, which is a violence interruption nonprofit. And so this guy who's running this organization, he gets caught up by the FBI on I think, a PPP loan or some sort of financial scam that he's running. And so he gets caught by the FBI, he gets charged, and he ultimately pleads guilty to that. But part of his plea agreement is that he says that he can become a confidential human informant and capture Trayon White, the DC council member, accepting bribes. So they take him up on the offer, and they wire him up. They wire up his car. And he goes and meets with Trayon White multiple times and hands him envelopes full of cash. And the reason that he's giving him the cash is because his contracts with the city to support violence interruptions are being denied by the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. And Trayon White was at the time, he was the chairman of the committee that oversaw the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. And so this CEO of this nonprofit, he's giving Trayon White cash bribes to look the other way for his contracts. And he's also bribing a woman named Dana McDaniel, who's the deputy director of the Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. She's also been convicted of accepting bribes. But the interesting thing here that I think gets lost in a lot of the stories is the reason for the bribes was that his contracts were being denied because his violence interrupter employees could not pass the background checks. And he wanted both Trayon White and Dana McDaniel to look the other way on these background checks so that he could continue to get these contracts approved that are worth millions of dollars annually. And I don't know what the case is, but there must be something seriously wrong if your violence interrupters can't pass a background check, and that you have to then use cash bribes to a DC council member and the deputy director of this program to get these contracts approved. And, I think, we mentioned at the top of the show that this whole program and this ideology seems like a grift, but this is something that is impossible to track, and it is impossible to monitor, and is impossible to put up guardrails for to make sure that people aren't abusing it. And so until those things can be established, my position here is that we shouldn't be investing in these.